Yes, we are ready. Thank you.
All righty then. I would like to call to order this joint meeting of the Cotati City Council and the successor agency to the former Cotati Community Redevelopment Agency for this Tuesday, September 26, 2023. So with that, may we please have a roll call?
Councilmember Rivers.
Here.
Councilmember Lemus.
Here.
Councilmember Ford.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sparks.
Here.
Mayor Harvey.
Here. Thank you for that. Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you for that. And we will be moving on to the next item, which is approval of the minutes and notice of waiving of reading of all resolutions and ordinances introduced and or adopted under this agenda. And we have one item under there. It's minutes for the regular meeting of September 12th, 2023. Any questions or corrections to those minutes?
Just one question from Mr. Bacher, whether my remote attendance should indicate pursuant to AB 2449 or anything like that? It just says remote in the draft.
Kevin, I think that would be a sensible approach to indicate that you had a just cause, correct?
Right,
Yes.
right. Elder
So
care.
we should indicate in the minutes that he participated remotely due to a just cause.
Thank you for that. So since this is an action item, I will open this up for public comment. And right this minute, there is no one in the audience here. Kevin, could you poll our Zoom attendees and see if anyone would like to make a comment on the minutes?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. Speaking to our Zoom attendees, if you'd like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand icon at this time. And there's a hand from Lori. Please go ahead.
Thank you for that. Any other comments on the minutes, Kevin? I'm not seeing any other hands.
That was the last hand, Mayor Harvey.
Okay, thank you. Then I will bring that back to the council and would be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 12th.
With the change we talked about.
Yes, with the change to the remote by Councilmember Ford.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Not seeing any. That passes unanimously. So we'll move on to announcements. Meeting orientation for new attendees and viewers. In conformance with the Brown Act and the adopted City Council rules, the meeting agenda includes items labeled as action items, where the City Council will consider the item and citizens are afforded the opportunity to provide comments relevant to the item being discussed. The meeting agenda also includes a citizens' business item, which is the designated place on the agenda where citizens have the right to say whatever they wish. The City Council may or may not choose to respond to comments as the government code allows. However, if the City Council declines to respond, it should not be perceived as giving credence to or agreeing with any statements that the City Council or its members believe are incorrect, misinformed, or purposely biased. Next, Measure S supports police services, a variety of recreation programs for all ages, and the maintenance of our streets, parks, and public buildings. See details on the web at cotaticity.org. Next, citizens interested in receiving City of Cotati community alerts via text or email are encouraged to sign up with Civic Ready by signing up on the city website, www.cotaticity.org, under the How Do I link at the top of the page. Next, like always, we love to hear from you, so please feel free to contact the city at 707-792-4600 or info@cotadicity.org. If you have a non-emergency issue after normal business hours, you can contact us at 707-792-4611. And of course, if you have an emergency, please contact 911. Continue to look for updates on the city's website and social media channels available on Facebook, Instagram, and Civic Ready. So with that, we will move on to the next item, which is approval of the final agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No proposed changes, Mayor?
Okay. Since this is an action item, I will open this up for public comment. And there's no one here in the audience. Kevin, could we ask for public comment on the final agenda?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. Speaking to our Zoom attendees, please use the raise hand icon to speak your public comment. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, thank you for that. Next, we will move on to citizens' business and public comment for the consent calendar items. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the council on any items listed on the consent calendar or any matters not listed on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council may do so at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the council is not allowed to consider issues or take action on any item not listed on the agenda during this period. Pursuant to City Council Policy 2021-01, comments of any member of the public are normally restricted to a total of 3 minutes in length per person for matters not on the agenda, and a total of 3 minutes per person in length for any and all items on the consent calendar. The mayor may extend the time limit for a reasonable time or a disability accommodation has been requested. To facilitate public comment, the deputy city clerk will alert speakers when there are 30 seconds remaining. And so with that, I would be looking to see if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak on citizens' business at this time. No? Okay, then I will open it up for Zoom attendees.
Speaking to our Zoom attendees, please use the raise hand icon if you'd like to make a public comment for citizens' business
And the consent calendar.
and the consent calendar. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, thank you for that. And so on the consent calendar, there are 2 items: amend the FTE staffing schedule for fiscal year 2023-24, and design agreement for Sunflower Park updates. And I would be looking for a motion or, yes?
I had a concern about
Okay.
item B.
Okay. Do you have a question, or do you want it pulled?
Well, I guess I just have a question.
Okay.
I was interested to see what their public engagement plan was going to be, and it looked like they had copied and pasted the public engagement plan for Helen Putnam Park. So I just spotted that right before the meeting. I'd just like to know what the public engagement plan is, because we don't have it, because it's the Helen Putnam plan that they pasted in.
Oh, yeah. It's intended to be the same. So,
Well,
I mean, not literally the same, but-
It talks in their plan that we're going to bring the 2019 Helen Putnam plans and present them to the community, and I'm sure that's not what's really planned, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
The plan is to present the concept from the 2019 Park Capital Plan.
Our capital plan, okay.
Get feedback, put out a survey, come back with concepts, and then put that out for a survey as well, just like what we're doing with the other
Okay.
parks. That's what we talked about, although I can make sure that I get that corrected
Okay.
before we actually, if the council wants to approve it tonight, before we enter into a contract. But that
Okay.
was what was discussed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then we have 2 items on the consent calendar, and I'd be looking for a motion.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Not seeing any. Those 2 items pass unanimously. Then we will move on to item 9, direction on future agenda items. Yes.
I have not gone through the process with the city manager on this, but I feel like we need to get the webcast working. I don't know if there's if we need to talk about it at a meeting of allocating some resources to get it fixed. My husband said, I'm going to try to watch this tonight, but I don't think I'll be able to because I don't think the webcast will be working. And then he was proven right. So I feel like we got to get that fixed. So I wanted to propose that as a future agenda item.
You got that?
Sure. I mean, just a quick update to the council. We believe the webcast is working tonight. I'm not sure if you have different information aside from what we heard earlier.
One of the
but-
earlier commenters said it was not working.
Yeah, we seem to confirm that it is working. So I
Oh, it
don't know
is.
what's going on there, but
Okay.
but it is a valid point that we often do have problems with that system, even if it's not tonight. We are moving to a new legislative management platform very shortly. We're like within a meeting or two of doing it, and that has a different it's a different system from pushing video out, which should be much more reliable than the system we have right now. So that's the plan.
Okay. So we may or may not need an item depending upon how that works, and I guess you can check with your.
Yeah, I guess it depends how long until that new system comes online. I mean, is it going to be real soon or?
It's functioning right now in the background. We're just making the transition over. So within 2 meetings, it should be, yeah, so very, very soon.
Okay. All right. Then we will move on to the regular agenda, and the first item up is the community survey update. And can we get a staff report on that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So this item is a proposal to do polling of the community. And as you may know, our most recent poll was in November 2020, where we had polled the community. And so actually a little bit of background. We have done polls of the community all the way back like till 20. I think the earliest one was, it's over a decade now, where we do periodic polls of the community, mostly community satisfaction with services and, you know, the direction of the city generally. The most recent poll in November of 2020 was that, but also included community sentiment about public safety as well as just bias and those kind of questions in the community. So as part of a longer discussion that the council had back in 2020, staff was directed to periodically update this poll and come back to council with updates to it so we can track it over time. And the value of a poll, an actually designed poll, is that you can get answers with at least a certain level of certainty that the answers represent something the community thinks within a margin of error that's defined by the results of the poll. And it's actually designed by the poll itself, by how the poll is designed. So the alternative is like a Survey Monkey, sort of they call it a self-selected poll, where anyone can take it, and people can take it multiple times, and there's no real statistical basis for that kind of poll. I mean, it gives you a general sense of sentiment, but you can't say with any certainty, you know, people think this or that in the community. So the value of a designed poll like this is that you can, within the margin of error, feel pretty confident that this is how people feel about whatever questions you're asking them. The proposed poll, their scope is attached to this. The proposed poll will be in English and Spanish with a combination of live phone calls, texts, and postcards to all addresses, assuming that we proceed with option 4, which is on the scope. The survey will be community-wide, so all residents. It is restricted to adults, so that'd be age 18 and over. And it would be statistically valid around 5-ish% at the 95% confidence level. And this would usually entail between 300 and 400 responses to the poll based on our population size. And the most recent poll back in November of 2020 was about a little bit over 350 respondents and we used calls and emails in that one. With a follow-up phone survey that was, I think it was 17 minutes, but between 15 and 20 minutes is 20 minutes for a phone poll is the outside edge of how long you want to be talking to people, because then they're not going to want to talk to you, and they're going to lose interest and hang up. So, so you want to keep it as succinct as possible and get the information you need. I also, that's sort of the broad overview of the scope. FM3 is the firm that we're proposing to use. We have used them in the past, and they're very familiar with the community, and they've done the prior polls. So the new poll would utilize a lot of the same questions that we've used in prior polls, just to track them through time, just to see how people's responses change or don't change to certain questions. And I also have Miranda Everett on Zoom with us tonight. She is one of the principal people that I work with on polling through FM3, and she would be happy to answer any questions if I can't. But that's it in a nutshell. I'd be happy to take any questions if there are any.
Okay, questions? Yes, Sylvia.
Yes, it says here that the poll will be conducted in English and Spanish. Does that include the phone calls, texts, and postcards? Will it be all bilingual?
It's all bilingual, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in addition to this, will they do any random, visiting homes or doing kind of canvassing door to door?
It's no physical canvassing, no.
No, okay. Because I feel like sometimes there's some families that may not respond to either of those three options that might respond to a contact at their home or something. But that's not included. It's just these other three options.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Are we proposing to use exactly the same questions as in 2020? There's no indication of the content of the poll in our packet.
The thought was to use mostly the same questions. I mean, there might be adjustments here and there, but primarily the same questions.
Okay, one other, on that question of language, that on packet page 31, it says the recommendation is to include a phone Spanish option, but not an online Spanish option. And we can talk about that later, but I just want to clarify that about what the Spanish proposal is. It says we do not recommend offering the survey online in Spanish.
Okay, well, hopefully I didn't misspeak, but maybe Miranda, you can chime in on that.
Okay, thanks. I'll save discussion till later.
Do we have any idea on what that cost differential would be?
It depends on the overall length of survey we end up with, but it should be in the ballpark of an additional 5,000. Well, we can revisit that and get a more precise estimate once we know some of the other pieces.
Yeah. This way? Kay, do you have questions?
I just wanted to comment that, each of these contracts we enter into, I always go to the website and look at our team. And this is the most diverse team that I've seen that we've hired. So I'm very pleased about that and just wanted to make that comment.
Laura? Okay. Yeah. No questions at this time. I do have a comment, and I'm glad that we're utilizing some of the same questions, because I think over time I've seen it's been nice to have that ability to see the trends. Are we going up or are we going down? So that's always a good thing. So changing all the questions is never really a good thing, because then you don't have anything to balance it against. So with that, I will open this up for public comment. Would you care to comment on this? No? Okay, then I will close comment here and open it up on Zoom.
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. Speaking to our Zoom attendees, please use the raise hand icon to make a public comment on this item. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, all right. So from a discussion perspective, how are you guys feeling about this? I think the only thing that's come up is really do we want the online in Spanish for $5,000-ish?
I'm happy to start.
Okay.
I mean, so one concern I have is not seeing anything about the content of the survey here, and given that we, tasked an ad hoc committee last year with a pretty extensive work on our new since the last poll council goal about recognizing diversity as a source of strength, I'm feeling not comfortable just saying, okay, do a poll about bias, because I don't think bias even captures what I think we're talking about in that goal. We're talking about, are we meeting residents' needs in ways that traditionally some populations are not served? And so trying to get at that, I would be more comfortable if we appointed a 1-month ad hoc committee of a couple of council members who were willing to work with the city manager and the contractor to get those questions in order. They were put together quite hastily in 2020 because that was a poll we wanted to get out really quickly in response to the times. And I think it bears, those questions in particular, I think bear some looking at. So that's where I'd rather not delay it by saying bring it back to the next meeting with the survey, but I would like there to be a little more input, especially from hopefully my colleagues who were involved in the ad hoc. Thanks.
Sylvia, do you have any comments?
No comments other than if it's possible to add the Spanish online for 5,000. It sounds like it's not a big difference, but I think maybe at least it's another option for participants to provide information.
Okay. More?
I agree with Councilmember Ford. I think it would be a great idea to have us take a look at the questions again, revisit them before we move forward. I guess I have a question for you is, can we give you authority to execute this contract while also creating a group to look at the questions, or what would the timeline be?
What I'm hearing suggested, at least from one council member, is that the ad hoc kind of reform just for a month just to look at this poll, the draft poll questions, right? So if that's the direction, I think that's pretty clear, and we have the old poll, so we can easily just get that dusted off and then talk about it internally with the old ad hoc.
Yeah, and I agree with that as well. I'd very much like to see the questions. Also, I'm open to participating in ad hoc committee. I think a lot of surveys don't actually ask the question they're trying to ask. So I think it would definitely be worthwhile to review it first. And I like her idea about Vice Mayor Sparks' idea if we can go forward with the contract while still reviewing the questions, if you can do one without the other.
Yes, I think you can. I mean, the only caveat is that we got to keep roughly the same number of total questions, because if you start adding more questions, then it increases contract cost. But
right. No, I think we're talking more about editing. No, potentially.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to hear from the consultant because I have also seen us try to edit things on our own without the benefit of the background in a consultant. And like you say, it may not get what you want, but what you change the words to, they've kind of already seen some of that in what we get. So I kind of would like to hear from the consultant because, you know, we don't do this for a living and they do this for a living. And to Ben's concern about, you know, what we're trying to get at with the equity, I would imagine we aren't the only city in the whole universe. In fact, I know we're not. And so the consultant may already have some already prepared questions that would work quite nicely for what we're trying to get at. So I'd like to hear from Miranda. Can you be a little bit louder? We can hardly hear you.
Oh, sure. Hopefully this is helpful. I'm just
Okay.
over
Okay. Thank you.
So yes, for all of our research, we work collaboratively with the clients. In this case, typically it's city staff. We often also work with ad hoc committees in other scenarios as well, so we would be happy to do that to ensure that the questions that go out are, you know, fully vetted and bought into by the leadership and the staff, so that you know what questions you're asking, how they're phrased, and what we hope to learn by asking them. Of course, that's a collaborative process and one that, as you mentioned, you know, brings in a lot of our, you know, expertise and skills and places where we can compare to other communities and ways we've asked the question in the past, as well as our, you know, understanding of public opinion research and how to frame questions in ways that get actionable data. So we do see it as a process that kind of goes through drafts and iterations, involves multiple stakeholders. That is something that we would commence as soon as, you know, if we were selected for the contract, that would commence as soon as that is taken place. But yeah, we do see the survey instrument as something that we would not put in the field without your full buy-in.
And do you have questions from other surveys that address some of the concerns that Councilmember Ford has? The-
We have a library of other questions we've asked in other communities, in, you know, up and down the West Coast for the most part on similar issues. Often, you know, because every community is unique, we have more open-ended conversations about the goals of the research and then sort of work backwards from there to develop questions, run the questions by the committee or staff, and make sure everyone is on the same page in terms of the inputs and the outputs we expect to see. So this is kind of an art and a science, marrying some of our expertise in other areas and the kind of local and specific concerns that your community has.
Okay. Ben, did you have any follow-up to that since? Yeah.
No, it sounds great,
Okay.
and they're very willing to work with an ad hoc committee.
Okay.
An ad hoc is limited to 2 people, and I didn't mean to imply it should be the same 2 people as were on last year's ad hoc. I just think it would be valuable to have some continuity between that ad hoc and this one, and I am not putting my name in the ring for that ad hoc.
I guess the only other question that I have is, I heard thrown out there a month. I'm concerned about the timeline. What impact will this have? And the reason that I'm saying this is I think that it would be helpful for us to have results when we go in to do our mid-year, so that we know from the community's perspective, you know, what are their priorities. You know, we think we have a feeling for what they are, but we, you know, I suppose could be totally, you know, off base one or the other. So I feel like it would be a good input for us to have, since this is a non-election year and it's not like we can, you know, we're not out there walking right now. So just my thoughts on how would that impact the schedule.
Well, so my hope would be that we would come up with the survey questions and, you know, finalize that in October and then go out early November. I haven't talked to Miranda about this, but that's my hope in terms of timeline. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, because once we start getting in closer to Thanksgiving, we also kind of generally lose the community because they're busy with other things. You know, I want to be mindful of, you know, getting as many folks as we can to do that. So,
After mid-November, it's pretty much done. Yeah.
right, yeah, you're kind of done for the year because people kind of check out because they're busy with families and things. So, yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to respectfully push back a little bit on the this not being our jobs. At least 3 of us are educators up here, and it absolutely is our job to assess the particular content that we're looking for and not testing people's ability to take tests, but to actually see if they understand the content. So I just wanted to respectfully push back on that comment.
Well,
Thank you.
maybe I didn't say it in a way that you understood it. What I meant is they have the science and stuff behind it, and whatever questions we pick, they might have some sense as to what kind of answers we have. But sometimes we do kind of, not meaningly, but we change the wording on things and there are unintended consequences. So that's all I'm saying is they have the expertise. So, with that, are we prepared to move this item? And what do we want to move? Yes.
Well, I have a question. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm curious whether Councilmember Lemus would have any interest in serving on the committee to look at the questions, since I know you have so many connections with Lucian and the Latinx community.
Yes, I would join the ad hoc, the committee.
Just, I think that would be great if you were willing
Yeah.
to do that. And I personally would, I don't think I'll have the capacity during the next few weeks to work on this, so I can't. Yeah.
And I would like to ask Mayor Harvey, since you were part of that ad hoc and in on all those conversations, if you would be willing to serve on that ad hoc over the next few weeks.
I would.
Work with the consultant and
Yeah.
staff on the questions.
Yeah.
So I would be comfortable with that ad hoc too. If
Is that where
I know
we're?
Kay also.
Yeah, I thought I heard interest from Kay. How many people, can we have 3?
2.
Only 2, okay.
So, yeah, I had offered, I guess if there can be an LGBT lens to it, I would very much appreciate that. So if you two feel like you can bring that, then I will trust you with it.
Okay. I can also ask Kay if you wanted to step in.
No. I feel like, I mean,
can bring that
Latinx
lens.
is super important as well. So
Yeah.
I don't
No,
want to.
I can bring both lenses too. Yeah,
Okay, thank
to
you.
the discussion.
Okay, we're getting closer. Do I hear a motion?
I'd be happy to move that we move a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Fairbank, Maslin, Mullen, Metz and Associates. I don't know if I said those right. To conduct a poll of the community on satisfaction with city services, public safety, and equity in the community. And at the same time, to appoint an ad hoc committee consisting of Vice Mayor Sparks and Councilmember, I'm sorry, of Mayor Harvey and Councilmember Lemus, to work with staff and the consultant to finalize the questions on the survey.
And bilingual online, is that something we can add now?
Yeah, I'm sorry, did we finish that conversation? I would like to add that to the contract
I'm
as well,
happy
that the
to add
survey
that.
also be in Spanish.
Are we?
Okay,
Yes.
so that's part of my motion.
That's part of your, okay. Do I have a second? This
Wait,
lo-
So one more thing, then I would just suggest that we bump the authorized amount to 45,000, because it's authorized at 40 right now. And then that'll have enough excess, I think, to figure that out.
Yes, add that to my motion. Authorized to 45,000, not to exceed 45,000.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second for this long motion?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Not seeing any. That passes. All right. Moving right along here. The next item is water and sewer utility customer survey and monthly billing proposal. So is that Angela?
That's me this evening.
Okay.
So Angela Corder, Director of Administrative Services. So good evening, Mayor, council members, members of the public. I don't have my clicker, so I'm going to let Kevin know when to go between the slides, so thank you. This evening, I'll be presenting to you information related to our customer survey for water and sewer utility customers, which was a online Survey Monkey survey, as we discussed a little bit earlier, so it's self-selected survey, as well as a proposal and a plan for your consideration to move from bi-monthly billing for the utilities to monthly. Next slide, please. So I love my graphs, right? So for our water and sewer utilities, this is really how I perceive our processes and interconnectivity. So at the top, we have our customers who are in the city and we're providing these services to them. Then there's all these systems and infrastructure that are developed to get the service to the customer and maintain the data or provide usage billing information back to the rest of us. This data is then managed in collaboration between the Administrative Services Department, who provide the most direct customer service. That's that billing and support, starting services, looking for leaks, as well as the Public Works, who maintain the physical infrastructure and provide customer support to the community out in the field. So with this survey, we were able to receive approximately, I think we got exactly 100 responses. By the time I got this in, it was like, okay, that's a great time to stop. Just equal at 100, it's perfect. So we did derive this on some specific information we were hoping to get from the community as far as our interaction with them and how we're perceived and how they like getting information from us, and vice versa, how they're engaging with us so that we can better use that communication as well. So the next slide. So this part of our survey we used was to identify how customers were connecting with city staff. So per this study, we noted that the primary contact with the city for these utility customers was office staff. So this is really kind of pigeoned into one key position, and it's the key to connecting to our customers and providing the best class information and support. So the downside of this is this key staff position who really focuses on this information has had a little bit of turnover recently, and it's a lot of information to learn. I'm still learning stuff every single day between Damien and Craig that I'm just blown away. So it's a lot to learn in order to convey that information to our customers. So we're really looking to learn from this information that's provided by our customers and know that, you know, we really need to facilitate more training and support for this individual to be able to provide the best support for our community. Next slide, please. So that was who our customers are primarily engaging with, but next is kind of how the customers are engaging and connecting with the city. So overwhelmingly, customers are using the phone and in-person interactions. While a handful did use email, I think primarily a majority of this are ones where we initiated the email out to them from ours, and so they then responded back in email. So there are options that we're looking into where we can better use some development around our website. And we did offer an other option on there, so somebody would write in. I was expecting somebody to say, hey, they started service with online, or they do their leak alerts online or something, and nobody answered that at all. So I was very surprised, but that's, again, something we can look at on our website to maybe improve some more self-supporting services where you can go online and register yourself, get some information yourself, and it kind of ties into what we want to push out to our community. So the water and sewer services is a 24/7 operation, and that unfortunately doesn't match our existing office hours for support for non-emergency things. So emergencies, yes, our dispatch services will get Public Works there if there's a significant leak. We always have that option available. However, we want to be able to still provide service to everyone if they need to start service over, you know, a regular time or schedule it in the future, and not have them have to rely on calling us, leaving a voicemail, getting back to us during their office hours as well, So this is something we want to look to and have that lens perspective of how we can do better. Next slide, please. So what type of information is our community looking for? So our customers are really interested in a lot of things around water and sewer, and we definitely saw that with the water shortage and everyone trying to do the conservation efforts. Everyone kind of brought everyone together on that. However, we have some big areas of improvement in order to provide information to our customers and things that they're interested in. So unfortunately, 57%, this is packet page 45, 57% of our respondents were not aware that we have a leak detection program, though through WaterSmart. So this is a critical thing that we offer our community and our customers, where they can log in and they can see what's going on with their water. And they don't have to check it every single day. They can set their alerts, and then if something happens, they're then alerted and informed as to something going on. So this is a tool that we have invested in and provide, but it looks like it's really not being promoted effectively. Likewise, there's 7% of our customers who would like to sign up for e-billing, and this is something that could save the city some money. We're not sending out things in postage. We don't have mailer trucks going around and delivering our beautiful newsletters. We love them, but we also have them in e-versions, so we can provide that to our community. But if we can get them something that's easier for them to get in their email and process their bills a lot easier, hopefully reducing that 7% of customers who want to get an e-billing, registered for e-billing, would be a great thing. Customers are also, one of the questions in the survey was categorizing important topics to them, including water saving strategies, notifications, as well as timely billing. That was on packet page 51. We feel that, and in there, all of those things were really rated more than 20%. Everyone was thought they were more helpful than they're, a nuisance. Sometimes getting notifications, people can think that it's overwhelming, they're getting bombarded with information everywhere. It didn't really seem like that was what people taking the survey had informed us. They wanted more information about all different topics. And so that really kind of lays out a platform of what information we should be providing back to our community in regards to, again, the leak detection. Information needs to not just be provided online, but also at community events. We need to provide more timeliness to customer billings, which kind of plays into the second part of our presentation tonight. So next slide. So that was all about what information they want to receive more information on, how there are maybe missing pieces that we provide currently. And so how do we get this information to them? So we've already identified our key person that everyone's kind of already engaging with to start their service, and that's here at our staff. But how can we push out the information, not rely just on that one person? So unfortunately, there's not one method that seems to work for anyone who was surveyed. They really, while the majority of them did appreciate and prefer email, it was varied across all of the venues that we offered. Is it better to get information around logging in through social media or text message or newsletters? Like, where are they collecting this information? It was varied, and so that means that needs to be our strategy as well. We can, previously we've been reliant on primarily the newsletters, and we have done some social media. That was the one on the very first slide, was a social media post that we had done. And it seems like that's not going to be good enough. The only reason I think we got 100 responses to our survey was because we pushed it out via email and text message to the utility customers. So that seems to be a way for us to get better responses. So that kind of lays out, next slide, what information we're getting from our community. It was great. I didn't see any nasty messages like, sorry, I hate dealing with the water, group, or, public works team never can deal with me. They're never here to help me with my leaks. Or it was all very positive. They thought we were very engaging, and I want that to continue. However, clearly there's other things that we need to be helping promote. One of the things in the survey was kind of in there a little bit was whether billing timeliness was going to be a benefit to customers. And none of them really thought that it wouldn't be a benefit. So as a part of our strategic objectives was to bring back to council our plans for moving to monthly billing. And so we feel like this is really a great time for us to implement that. We have the right AMI system. So we've done some investments in our infrastructure, specifically that AMI and our ERP system, which are actually really focused on running on a monthly process, especially with payment plans and assistance plans. Those are all developed on having a monthly payments. So we feel like this is something that is in the best interest for our community. The staff are now moving into getting this ready, and we have seen that it is a best practice and used across our county with very few exceptions. I know on the slide it says it's just Rohnert Park and Windsor, but when I did some more due diligence, Damien's kind of like, hey, you know, can you check and see what other cities? Really, it's every city in the county except for a couple water service districts and Sebastopol. Everybody else is on monthly billing already. So we are one of the outliers. And really the main pro for both of them is that it fiscally allows customers to better align their budgets with those bills. And it does the same for the city. We're paying out water and wastewater bills on a monthly basis, and we're only collecting really revenue every bi-monthly. You know, it comes in tranches. You know, people decide to pay right as the bill comes out, and then the other half of people decide to pay right as the bill is due. And so it's a balancing act with you have more money going out than coming in and making those balance. So with that, before turning it back to council for questions, we did want to state that staff have provided a resolution for this change in billing if it's council's desire at this time. Staff are prepared and excited for this possible change for the most part. And if it was decided to move forward, then staff would be using information learned through the survey to develop an outreach program and inform its customers of these plan changes. Excuse me, I need some water. Of these plan changes. So we really feel like it's a good timing to move forward. And one of the changes that we are, adjustments we are planning is that we would, while we are still moving to a monthly billing, to allow management of staff time, as well as to better assist our community that might be in more need, is that we would still continue to do shut-offs only on a bi-monthly cycle. So that would allow us to do more outreach and support for those people who might need more time on those. So now I turn it over to council for questions.
Yes, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. On packet page 61, it talks about some of the increased costs.
Yes.
And I just had a question about the online payment fees, which are projected to more than double. I'm assuming that's because we're hoping to move more people off of payment formats that take staff time and onto the online. But I'm just curious what exactly service it is that we're using that has that fee, and is that different from direct bank draft? And yeah, that's my initial question.
So there's 3 points for fees. So we have our online portal, and so any payment that's made through the online portal, that online service has a per transaction fee, right, for going through the online portal. That's directly connected to our ERP, so that's a great thing for us. It's consistently, it directs right into it, and so that's the collection piece. And then there's merchant service fees. So that's the actual banking credit card system behind it. So anyone who's transacting with those credit card transactions, moving it from our merchant account to our bank account, those also have merchant fees. And those are all variable based on what type of credit card you run at, you know, and some of them have a base charge plus a percentage charge. And we like to try and offer as many as we can as far as accounts. We're currently looking to change our merchant service to one that's a little bit more streamlined with our ERP system. They just started, so we will be looking into that and seeing if it will be a cost savings, both in our staff time and in actual fees. But you are completely correct that the change in the cost more than double is because in order to really make this efficient and staff effective, and with our need to move some more programming and outreach to the online bill pay, then that will be the cost, will be those fees, because the actual receipts should be increasing in those online bill pay formats. And then secondly, on your draft, I love draft. It costs us nothing. It's a part of our system, and it's the #1 thing that we need to be promoting. However, it's directly connected to someone's bank account, and we manage it. It's all encrypted, so it's in secure data, but because we manage it, it goes straight through our bank. There's no additional fees or processing for it currently. Of course, our ERP system could decide that they're going to get smart and decide to have some transactional processing fee in there somehow. However, at this time, it's something that we manage and maintain, and so there is no fee. So I appreciate everyone who's on draft, and that is something that we could increase. Currently, we do it twice a billing cycle, on the 16th or the 2nd of the month. And so that is something where we can offer it once a week. And we could just process a draft once a week. If somebody didn't like the 2nd or the 16th for some reason, we could have as many draft packets as we want. We could have it every single day if we wanted. However, that's just another process for us to do. So.
Well, thank you. So I'd like to propose that maybe we do some kind of one-time incentive to encourage people to switch to bank draft. Maybe I don't know what the legal implications are, if we're allowed to do that like a one-time credit to their account or something if they switch to bank draft.
My understanding is that when we did promotions before, we had a donated item, and so that's how we were able to do the donations, because we can't do it from the utility fund. However, the general fund could contribute for that purpose. So if we wanted to do a local $5 gift card or a $5 credit on your utility bill, or some other things I saw implemented in other cities is that they've reduced the deposit fees. So if you sign up for draft upon start of your service, they've reduced your deposits that you need to have on hand.
Makes sense. Sorry.
I just wanted to offer, what about a water filter or something that's sort of related, for their house? Could be cool. I mean, I don't know, just brainstorming.
Just one more question. I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, so sorry to put you on the spot, but do we have an idea of the magnitude, if somebody's paying through the online portal with a credit card every bill, do we know roughly how much we are paying in fees for that customer per year? Or
it's less than 1%. Yeah.
So
per bill. I mean.
Okay.
But every little bit obviously
I know
adds up.
It's less than 1%. So I'm wondering, is it $20 a year, or is it more or less than that, or because I'm thinking if it's a substantial amount, if we could figure out how much are we losing in fees every year for this, and then offer an incentive that's maybe equal to 1 year worth of savings or something, because presumably the customer would stay for longer than a year, and that would be a good return.
Again, it would be really difficult to get down into the merchant fees, because it's by the different credit cards. So even if you pay with your MasterCard this month and you pay with your Visa this month, and then you decide, I'm going to go all out, get an American Express and put it all on my business card, it's going to have different rates per the merchant. So I wouldn't have a good feel for that. I know currently just paying online is that $1.25 per transaction. Again, that could change, but most of our utility bills are approximately $220, excuse me, per bill. That's kind of the average. Okay. And so it's minimal compared to the revenue coming in. We have discussed, some other utilities, they charge a convenience fee. I know you love paying that way. If you pay your property taxes online, you use a credit card, there's a convenience. Anyway, so there is that venue, and we can use that online. However, it is a benefit to us to receive the funds through the credit card processing online. The efficiencies that are built in, the security, the issues around data entry, opening checks, receiving mail. it adds so much more time and layers than that 1% of that bill costs. And so it's a benefit to us to have that paid for by the city as a fee as opposed to passing it on to the customer, because it really does get built into our fee study as well, because it is a part of our costs of operations.
And, yeah, I mean, in rough numbers, right, for the current 6 billing cycles in a year, it's like $7. If they pay with their credit card for each one of those billing cycles, it's at $1.25, it's like $7.50 for the $7.50 for the year, or double that, $15, if it doubled to a monthly process. So it's not a huge amount, but I do agree that the bank draft, for anyone that's comfortable doing that, we should definitely promote that, because that's by far the best approach. If it, you know, but the online bill pay is the second best. And then the third best is them coming in and actually transacting, because then it takes time and we have to process it more. There's more processing involved.
Because what we really don't want to do is have someone see that fee online, and if you say it's $7.50, decide, oh, well, I'm going to send a check, because it only costs me the cost of a stamp to send a check. So.
Oh, yeah, my wife will actually go down to the assessor's office and pay to avoid that fee, that convenience fee, because it's just irritating to people, you know, that you would have to pay that. It's not a convenience for the customer so much.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, are you all done with questions at this point? Okay. Then I will. Is there something over there, or are they just having a sidebar?
He was giving me some legal advice, but I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay. I'll leave you to your sidebar. So with that, I will open this up for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on the customer survey and moving possibly to monthly billing? Not seeing anyone in the audience. Jump up and run to the podium. Okay. So could we check with our Zoom attendees, please?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. Speaking to our Zoom attendees, if you'd like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand icon at this time. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
All right, thank you for that. Then I will bring this back, and what would we like to do with this item? Could we have a motion?
I'm in support of moving to monthly billing. I think, you know, because the systems are built for that, I think it's time to do that.
Okay, and could you?
You want me to make a motion?
Well, okay, Laura, all right.
I'd like to suggest that we also explore an incentive program to get people to move to bank draft in conjunction with this change, maybe as part of the messaging for the changeover.
Okay, so someone going to make a motion? Okay, are you willing to make a motion? No? Okay, all right.
I'm sorry. So I thought that I saw it, and I've been going back and forth, and now I can't find it. Did we directly ask about going monthly versus bi-monthly? I thought I saw it, now I can't find it.
We indirectly asked about the impact of, so packet page 51, I believe. So the final question on there, these were not arranged in this order, but the last question on there was, receive my utility bills more timely in relation to when the water is used to allow for better water and cost management. So that was an embedded question in there, and that's where that 16% very much agreed, 26, agreed, 50% were neutral, but pretty much no one really, there were some others that weren't sure or didn't agree, but that's really the only specific about, and it wasn't, do you want to move to monthly billing, because council's discretion, it was part of our strategic objectives, and being unbiased on that was what we wanted to bring.
Does that answer that?
Yeah, it did. Thank you. I thought that would be something we would ask directly, but thank you.
So, does someone would like to make a motion?
I'm willing to.
Okay.
I'd like to move a resolution approving billing of water and sewer utility customers for services on a monthly basis starting January 2024.
And including,
I don't think that suggestion needs to be part of a motion. I think
as staff, good with that direction?
Yeah, we got that.
I'll second the motion.
All right, motion is second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Not seeing any. Then that passes unanimously, and we will move on. Oh, we're at the city manager's report.
Yes, the most exciting part of the meeting. So, so we have a drug take-back event coming up, and that is Saturday, October 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here at the Ray Miller Community Center, right behind City Hall here. So I'll just keep on reminding everyone here at this meeting, but also we're going to be putting out public information about it as well to let people know. Just a reminder, the Civic Ready changeover, we're continuing to push the message out that we want everyone to change over by October 1 to the new emergency alerting system and to take the place at Nixle that we had previously used. The Park and Ride project, just so you know, that's underway. Construction is going on. You wouldn't see it. I mean, you wouldn't see it, but it's happening. So that's moving forward. The Valparaiso crosswalk is open. It was a kind of a gradual construction process, but it got there and it's open now. I saw someone using it yesterday. We held workshops, public workshops for Putnam Park and Civic Center. So we just had our second workshop. And we have a survey. I guess the more relevant part is we have a survey out right now with the concept plans on them. So we're letting people know that it's out there, it's in the parks. And if any of you have not looked at it or taken it, I'd encourage you to check it out and, add your feedback. So that runs through the end of the month, end of September. And then the 2024 pavement maintenance project is starting up. So this is the pavement maintenance project on East School and also the Gravenstein Way neighborhood. Public notification and no parking signs have gone out. Dig outs are supposed to happen this Friday. Stripe removal Saturday. Then October 7th, the slurry seal's supposed to start. So we'll be having slurry seal starting on October 7th through kind of the middle of the month, middle of October. So you'll be seeing that in those two locations. We have, you already know that the Santero Way plan update, you approved the consulting agreement, that's going. It's going behind the scenes at the moment, but expect to see planning staff reaching out to the community soon on surveys and other opportunities to engage in that planning process. And then this Sunday, we have over at the Veranda Flitty Ranch, we have Farmsters October Grow Together community volunteer program where people can volunteer from 10 a.m. to noon. And it's things like crop rotation, pest management, animal husbandry, composting, so forth. So they're always looking for volunteers for that. And then the following weekend on October 7th, Farmster will be hosting their monthly Sip and Share community tour program from 10 to noon. And it's a guided tour of the farm for anyone that's interested. October 20th, we have our first ever fall festival at the ranch. So it's going to be hopefully a very fun event. And it's for 2 weekends in October. So the first one's October 20th, where you and your family can come to the Veranda Flitty Ranch for a full day of visiting the pumpkin patch, visits with animals, treats, photo ops, live music, crafts, and more. And it's $5 per person over 3 years of age. And sign up now to reserve your space if you are interested in going. And then later in October, we're celebrating our 4th annual Cotati Candyland event throughout Cotati. That's from 2 to 5 p.m. on October 31st, where children and families can trick-or-treat throughout La Plaza Park and various businesses in Cotati. Also, one other thing on the Veranda Flitty Ranch, we're trying out our first ever scarecrow contest at the ranch. It's where people can make scarecrows and we'll put them up at the ranch. And from now until November 6th, we're accepting homemade scarecrow submissions at the ranch by appointment. Submissions will be just on display at the ranch in November, and there'll be a community vote on who they thought put the best scarecrow together. So hopefully it sounds fun to me, so. That's happening. And then one last thing on the Veranda Fletty Ranch. We're putting together a second workshop about the barn, a community workshop regarding the barn. And that's tentatively scheduled for October 14th, but there'll be more information on that soon. So with that, I would be happy to take any questions if you have any.
Questions? Yep.
I had a question about the baseball field at Helen Putnam Park. Do you know what the status is on that, or timeline?
The timeline I have is that they're supposed to be complete by October 15th. Yeah. I'm trying to get an update. Today I actually asked for an update. I haven't seen it yet, but October 15th is what they've told me they're shooting for to complete that work.
Okay.
Thank you. For the scarecrows, is there a workshop for that, or you just bring them?
Well,
YouTube. Okay.
yeah. There's some guidelines.
There are, okay.
Yeah.
Guidelines.
And is that on the Farmster website?
It is. So Sandy Loma's running that program.
Okay.
I'll have to get the link, and if it hasn't gone out on social media yet, it will soon.
Okay.
And it'll have the link to all that information.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Guidelines on scarecrow building.
You have to have guidelines.
Okay, all righty. Any other questions? No? All right, then thank you for that. And I have one question. So are we, because I know we use different contractors and such, are we, as we do the slurry seals, are we making sure that we're going to keep people off of them for an appropriate amount of time, depending upon the weather that day?
The answer is, well, the plan is yes.
Okay.
The plan is yes. I mean, you know, we've tightened up that process since, you know, we've had complaints, as you all know, a couple years ago. The last time actually was pretty good. We didn't have any issues. The last slurry seal project we did.
Okay.
So we're
I
continuing
just
that.
worry because it's different contractor, you know, we never know who's going to get that bid that year, and we want to make sure that we keep it right, Laura? Okay, great. That was my only question. So with that, we will move on to city council member reports. I'll start this way. Okay. Sylvia?
Sure. So last Thursday, I went to Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They had their Hispanic Heritage Month mixer in Healdsburg, so I went to that last Thursday. Saturday morning, I did the creek cleanup with some different community members, and altogether we collected 13 buckets plus a shopping cart. So even though it was clean, we kind of dug deep and walked on the creek and underneath some of the areas. And so I want to thank Jenny Blaker, Emmett Lucas, Neil Hancock, and also Paul Burke. I really commend Paul Burke, a community member, that he goes out on his own, even if it's not Creek Week, and really keeps our creeks areas really nice and clean. So we want to thank him. And thank you to Craig for bringing in buckets and grabbers for us. That was really helpful. On last Saturday, I also went in the afternoon to Rancho Cotati High School. They held their community celebration. It was a beautiful event where they had consulates from Guatemala, El Salvador, and also Mexico there, and they did a grito. They had the high school band play the Mexican national anthem as well as the American national anthem. They had all kinds of food, Guatemalan food. Black Student Union had food there. They had, so it was the kids put it on. So it was the Black Student Union and the Mecha Club with some of the teachers supporting. And it was just a great first inaugural event for Rancho Cotati High School, and they plan to do it every year. So it was an awesome event. This Thursday, I'm going to the Los 100 State of Latinx Community event at Sonoma State University. It's a sold-out event, so I'm planning on going there and bringing back information that I learned from that event. That's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben?
Thank you. My boards did not meet this month, so nothing to report.
Okay. Laura?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, Kay?
So I was very delighted to attend Cal Cities last week, and I feel like I learned a ton, which was really great. Specifically, the one that I found was like just the most amazing, and we'll have to talk about it another time. But I'm trying to find it. Here it is. It was called Stop Hate: How Local Elected Officials Can Combat Rising Hate Crimes and Hate Speech. And it was just really powerful session. And also attended the LGBTQ caucus, which is always a lot of fun. And just hearing what colleagues are, this part was not fun, but what colleagues are dealing with in their cities and towns, and the, you know, again, connected to the hate that they've been receiving was really, you know, upsetting. And then I did want to comment this Friday. Also, Rancho Cotati High School is having a community service fair. So for members of the community that have nonprofit organizations or work for ones, you can contact the high school and see if you can participate in that. And the point of that is to get students to volunteer for the organization. So it would be a really great thing to be involved in. That's during their lunchtime, which is 11:30 to 12:30, but you do need to sign up, so please call the school first. And then finally, I just want to remind my office hours that we affectionately call Coffee with Kay is tomorrow from 6 to 8 at the Redwood Cafe, and anyone who would like to come and bend my ear, I'm very, very happy to hear from you and to share potato skins and iced tea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I also attended the Cal Cities event. I think it was a well-attended event. The sessions were really very good. Actually, what was, I thought, really good was the attendance in the sessions. A lot of the sessions, you know, there was a lot of standing room only, which is a good sign. That it means that people are interested in the sessions and want to be there. The one that was most crowded, Noah will appreciate this, was the one having to do with housing. And that was really, really interesting. You know, the panel talked about what's being done and the laws that are passed, and that, you know, they had passed the 100 and then now another 80 is passed, and basically stuff is still not being built. So they haven't found the right combination of things to actually see. The only one that they're really seeing, you know, a little bit of movement on, which I think we are also seeing too, is the ADUs, but it's never going to get us, you know, where we need to be. But yeah, that one, it was standing room only and out the door, and then when it got time for them to ask questions, the line, they cut it off. There was like 30 people in line. It was really pretty interesting. So needless to say, cities aren't really extremely happy with some of the things that are being passed down. And I almost felt sorry, but not too sorry, that the poor representative from HCD, because she kept trying to say, we're here, we're your friends, and that message really didn't go over extremely well with that crowd, so I did feel a little bit bad for her. I also attended the workshop for the parks. I thought it was great because there was about, I don't know, little over 15 people, but what was nice is it was different people than the last time, so we got kind of another perspective. So I thought that was good, but I sat over in my little corner and just sat there. But good input, and it was really good because that time they had the actual pictures up, and people could go over there and put their dots on the pictures, and so there was a lot of interaction there, which was I thought great. And lastly, I was invited last night to speak to the Boy Scouts, and that was really kind of interesting. And it was interesting for the kids too, because the way they started their program was they talked about the Pledge of Allegiance and what it is and what it means and all of that. And then they talked about their rules, which are similar to our policies. So I was able to correlate, you know, how we do the Pledge of Allegiance here and how we have policies or rules, you know, for how that is. They had really great questions, and we're very interested in fact, a couple of the parents stopped me afterwards and asked me more questions, but it was great. They were very interested, but I also think it was important for them because they could see really the correlation between what they do and what they're learning, and, you know, how in a bigger world and, you know, for a city, how that works. So that was good. And that is all I have for tonight. So with that, we will move to public comment on non-action agenda items. Anyone here in the audience want to speak on non-action agenda items? I'm not seeing any of our audience jump up out of their chairs at this moment. So Kevin, can we go to our Zoom audience?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. Once again, speaking to our Zoom attendees, please use the raise hand icon to make a public comment. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Thank you for that. Then any information received after the agenda was posted?
There were 2 public comments received after the agenda was posted. Those were posted to the web agenda online and are available here in print in the chamber tonight.
Thank you for that. And with that, then, I will adjourn this meeting at 7:17. Thank you all for coming and being here to join us.